What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Anthony with VR365. Welcome to another brand new episode of our show. It is Thursday. I don't know why, but it feels a little bit like Friday to me, but it's actually Thursday, and it is December 13th. It is 11 a.m. Pacific time. And so the first thing I need to do here is I need to pop out my chat, which I have now done that, and then I need to get my topics situated and just about ready with that. Okay, so yeah, I actually have legitimate topics today. I actually took out some time and put together a number of different topics to get into, so we're going to go ahead and run through all of that. And we'll also see what else just pops up randomly. Of course, we do have chat in full and total effect. Now, why don't we get into the number one topic of the day? At least for me, this is the number one topic. Let me go ahead and throw on a trailer for this, just for the sake of it. Hold on one second here. Okay, excuse me, I got a bit of a throat problem, a bit of a cold, so we're going to have to deal with that. But the number one topic of the day for me, without a shadow of a doubt, is Blade and Sorcery. Okay, Blade and Sorcery. So I've got a number of questions about Blade and Sorcery from the standpoint that there just seems to be a lot of hype around this game, a lot of people really liking this game. And at first, I thought it was 100% guerrilla marketing. I really did. I mean, you look at some of the subreddits, like the Oculus Rift subreddit, the HTC Vive subreddit. I don't know, man. I don't know why, but I mean, I hate to accuse, I don't want to accuse somebody of something that they're not doing. But for some reason, to me, it felt like there were a lot of people in these various subreddits that, are they really serious? Do they really like this game that much? Is this game really that good? Like, what am I missing that everybody else is getting? So I thought it could be a couple of different things. Number one, it could potentially be guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing happens. And guerrilla marketing is basically no one is stopping you from having multiple fake Reddit accounts. And so if somebody really wants to stage a guerrilla marketing campaign, it is not a problem. It is within the realm of potentiality. Okay, number two is the honeymoon period. We all go through it. You know, I can tell you the first time I played Blade and Sorcery, like maybe the first hour or so that I played this game, I was super into it. I was like, wow, this is cool. I'm hitting my sword on the wall. I'm hitting my sword on the desk. You know, I'm taking my sword and I'm taking a battle axe and I put it on top of my sword and I can swing it around. How freaking incredible is that? Plus, you have the ability to shoot electricity out of your hands, and it looks really cool. It is really a cool effect. In fact, Blade and Sorcery, like if you just played 25 minutes of it, you could come out of it thinking, holy smack, you know, this is going to be a really huge game. This is an amazing game. It's got the physics. It's got, you know, lots of blood and gore and you know, intense action and all these kinds of things. So that's what you could have thought if you only play this for about 20 minutes. Even the first hour or so, you might still walk away thinking this is pretty incredible. But I don't know. I guess for some reason, this game doesn't affect me the way it's affecting a lot of other people out there. Or, I don't know, maybe guerrilla marketing. And then another possibility is group think. Okay, group think. Have you ever heard of this where it's like everybody just kind of thinks in a certain way, and so everybody just kind of thinks in that way? Like there is a bit of this drinking of the Kool-Aid of everybody and just kind of like a group consensus. In fact, I'm going to get into this later today on this show. It is a story that has to do with Gamespot and their top 5 VR games of 2018. We're going to talk about that groupthink a little bit later. So those are the possibilities. Honeymoon, guerrilla, groupthink. Or maybe I'm just straight on an island by myself and this game just isn't that great. It's okay. Here is what I consider Blade and Sorcery. A pretty expensive tech demo. That's what I consider it to be. Now, technically, the game is in early access, and this game could improve by leaps and bounds. It's not horrible. I'm not going to say this game is horrible. I have played some absolutely horrible games, and this game is far from horrible. The graphics are great. The blood and guts is pretty cool. The special effects are cool. The physics is really good. I just think the game gets really boring really quickly, but that's my personal opinion. And I think it looks so much cooler in trailers than it is in real life, unless you're constantly activating that slow-mo right before you do any of this stuff. It's not a terrible game. I'm curious, okay, where's Gary and where's Steve Bishop? Where's Reckoner VR? Where's Steve Bishop? You guys have played this, right? Like, am I on an island here? Does Epix like this? Like, who out there likes this? Has anybody talked about they really like Blade and Sorcery? I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not horrible. I just feel like the hype is way out of control. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and check out chat and see what some people are saying about this as well. Main fan says different waves, different physics, etc. I Am Rhett says could be the honeymoon period as well. MS Khan, I did not like Blade and Sorcery. Call me crazy, I thought it sucked. I thought the melee was jank. Okay, yeah, the melee, it's funny because the physics of Blade and Sorcery, when you're hitting your sword against a wall or a table or a barrel, the physics are it's very good. But then the actual melee when you're fighting people, it doesn't look like, the way it looks in the trailer, it seems like it would just be absolutely wonderful. But when you're actually doing it, like I'm stabbing people in their head, and I'm taking my battle axe and I'm side-swiping the sides of their head, and I'll tell you what, there's something therapeutic about becoming an absolute psychopath for a brief period of time in VR. Maybe we can let out our frustrations. Maybe VR is a very valuable tool to release stress. Games like Gorn are kind of like this. You know, it's a stress relief kind of a thing. And you could turn into a psychopath for a brief period of time. This game isn't horrible, man. It's not horrible. But man, I think the hype is either out of control on this game. It's a groupthink, honeymoon period. I don't know, guerrilla marketing. It's all in the possibles. Curious to hear this. So you guys that are watching this show later, in the comments, what do you think it is? Honeymoon period, guerrilla marketing, groupthink, or is Anthony just off on his own? He is on an island and he is just way off the mark. Lots of possibilities there for Blade and Sorcery. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on past this. And let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on past this. Okay, so the second biggest topic that I have today, Borderlands 2 VR. It comes out tomorrow, guys. Borderlands 2 VR comes out tomorrow. I don't know why I haven't been thinking about it very much. I just haven't been paying attention to Borderlands 2 in a major way. But you know what? There is a review already on Upload VR. Why don't we go ahead and bounce over to Upload VR and let's check out this Borderlands 2 VR review. It is nice to be king. And Upload VR is king right now in terms of VR coverage. These guys are number one, whether you like them or not. And they are going to get access to games that I would only dream about getting access. I cannot get, I mean, I don't know of anybody else that got Borderlands 2 VR in advance, and I'm going to have to pay my own actual money to get my hands on Borderlands 2. It is nice for this puppy, Upload VR. And so this goes to 10.6 as well. Another reason I save my money and I don't buy a lot of games is because there's games I'm not going to get and I have to buy with money. So I do have to set money aside. But let's go ahead and take a look at the positives and the negatives on Borderlands 2. Staggering amount of content, 4 distinct characters, endlessly creative loot, randomization, hilarious writing, lots of control schemes, and comfort options. Now, what's the big downer? No multiplayer, like no multiplayer whatsoever. This is a single player deal. No DLC and no PlayStation aim controller. They also say that VR integration could be better. And it seems like the really, really, really negative thing about Borderlands 2 is the controls. The controls with PlayStation VR Move controllers. Now, me and Steve Bishop, it's too bad that Steve Bishop is not at home today and can jump into chat real quick, because me and Steve Bishop, we've argued back and forth about taking a Move controller. I happen to have two Moves right down here. Hold on one sec. We've argued back and forth about how to control your movement with PSVR Move controllers. And I've always thought you could use just one of these little buttons here. You know, one of these little buttons is like move backwards. One of these little buttons is move forward. That's what I've always thought about these Move controllers. But a lot of developers instead, it's just your move button. It's like the full-size move button. But basically, you just aim it wherever you want to go. You hold it down. Now, here's the problem. Steve has always complained that, well, you can't move and shoot, you know, or that hand, whatever hand you're using for that, has basically been negated, because the only time you can use this hand is you got to stop. So if you want to shoot a gun or something, you've got to stop and aim. And it wasn't really a problem in Skyrim, and it hasn't really been a problem in some of the other PSVR games like Red Matter. It's not a problem there. But yeah, Borderlands 2 VR, you are talking about fast action. It is a fast action game. And so we can go down here and we can take a look at this review here. They kind of break it down. They say some really interesting things about the Move controllers in regards to this game. This is going to be a bit of a downer here. So it says, the PS Move controllers are a big problem for Sony's VR platform. In a game like Skyrim, because of the game's slower pace and lack of fast movement, it wasn't that bad, is basically what they're saying here. Now, to use smooth movement with PS Move, since there are no analog sticks at all, you point the left controller where you want to go, you hold down the move button in the center of the controller. Okay, so that's what they're doing, the same as a lot of other games. But it just says like doing things like jumping through the air, twisting around to line up a shot, then sprinting across a level while lobbing grenades, dodging bullets, and ducking behind cover in between reloading and navigating the chaos of a Borderlands 2 VR firefight are common and cumbersome. It feels like all the enemies have been nerfed to be wildly inaccurate most of the time, just because it'd be too tough to play otherwise. Ugh. So I don't know, I don't know. Yeah, they kind of say that the controls are a major problem, but then at the end of the day, they're giving it a 7 out of 10. They're giving it a 7 out of 10 at the end of the day. So it's not an 8, it's not a 9, and it certainly isn't a 10 out of 10. This is a review for Borderlands 2. Controls appear to be an issue. However, I've heard people like make major complaints about controls. I've gotten into the game and I didn't feel like it was that bad, so I'll have to wait and see. I hope to play Borderlands. I don't know if I'll be playing Borderlands 2 before tomorrow's show, so I might not be covering it until Saturday. So I'll have to see if I get a chance to get in there and try it out a little bit prior to tomorrow's episode. But I do believe I will be up in Borderlands 2. And hopefully it lives up to some of the hype. See, for me, it's a good thing. I've never played Borderlands 2 VR. I mean, I've never played Borderlands 2. And I've never finished Borderlands 1. So it's like a new deal for me, so I don't need to cry about it. Now, one thing you might want to cry about, though, is this price. $50. What do you guys think about $50 for Borderlands 2 VR? I don't know. That seems like a lot to me, because I don't put Borderlands 2 into a category with like Skyrim and Fallout. Like Skyrim and Fallout, yeah, I put those into that category. Borderlands 2 VR, this should probably be like $44.99. Maybe if you want to get that extra $5 hit right there, maybe $39.99. I mean, it's just a shock to the system. It really is. You know, we get used to paying a certain amount of money for these VR games. How accustomed are we to paying $19.99 for a lot of games? And when games get into the $20 range, it's a bit more expensive. They go to $24, they go to $29. Not too bad, not too bad. We maybe can do with it. They step into 30s, they step into the 30s, and you're like, damn, you're stepping into the 30s? Okay, you're saying you are a major freaking game here. You're stepping into the 30s, 35, 39, basically $40. But you pass the $40 mark, which is what Borderlands 2 VR is doing, and there's no physical version, so you can't like rent this game, as far as I know, right? It's kind of weird that there isn't a physical version. But other people are saying, hey man, this should be $50. It's not a big deal. And I understand that. And again, they're paying a tremendous amount of money. You got to talk about, like, for 2K games, they got to pay the licensing and all of that. They're going to price this puppy pretty high. They want to juice this baby as much as they can, at least in the first couple months of sale. It could always go a bit cheaper very quickly. So why don't we take a quick look at new on PSVR? We can take a look at some of the prices just as a comparison. Now, you got Roller Coaster Tycoon, that's $20. Richie's Plank Experience is $15. Let's see, Red Matter is $25, but goddamn is it a solid game. Smash Hit Plunder, wow. This game at $30 is bonkers in my opinion. I like the developer. Triangular Pixels, I am rooting for these guys. I thought Smash Hit Plunder was okay, but the price seems cray-cray. But I definitely am rooting for these guys, and I know they're working on Unseen Diplomacy 2, or they're hoping to get enough funding for Unseen Diplomacy 2, and I hope they get the funding. I want to see that. But whoa, that price is a shocker of shockers. Guns and Stories is $20. You know, Prison Boss, oh, okay, that's a demo. Arca's Path is $20. Prison Boss is $20. Rush is $20 if you got PS Plus, but it's $25. Squishies I know is $29. In Death is Squishies is $24. In Death is $29. But you get used to paying. Squishies is $24. You get used to paying $19.99 for a lot of these games, and for freaking Borderlands 2 to come out and just hit you really, really hard at that price point is kind of crazy. Okay, so check this out, folks. Does anybody remember Soulkeeper VR? Do you guys remember this game called Soulkeeper VR? It came from Helm Systems, and it was one of these games where we saw screenshots and we saw video of it, and it looked like the most jaw-droppingly gorgeous game that we ever saw. Then it came out into early access, and it was, man, performance issues up the yin-yang. Just absolutely terrible performance issues. So I really don't even know what to say about Soulkeeper VR. I don't know if they've ever fixed those performance issues. When I finally have my new Ryzen computer with my new motherboard, my new memory, and I get my 1080 Ti in there, maybe Soulkeeper VR is a game to try to revisit and see if they fix it a little bit. But guess what? There is a brand new trailer for Soulkeeper VR Early Access 2. Now, I don't know, is this a new game? Or for those of us that have Soulkeeper VR, do we get this? Or is this a new game? I don't know what's going on, but why don't we check out the trailer and see what the heck is going on here? It does look pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and check this trailer out if I can find it. Here we go.
Thanks for your business.
All right, that is Soulkeeper VR. That is like early access 2.0. Now, honestly, I didn't see the very end of that video. I was looking at something else right when it happened. So I don't know, is this a new game? Or for those of us that have this Soulkeeper VR game, is this like an update that is coming? Well, let's go ahead and go to the Steam page and let's check real quick here. So here is the Steam page. This is the Soulkeeper VR. Now, this came out back on August 15th, 2017. So this has been available for well over a year. Developer and publisher is Helm Systems. Reviews are mixed. It was pretty much terrible the very first time I played it. I know that. I just never knew that like they may have fixed the game at some point. Early access 2.0 reveal trailer and new website. Okay, so I guess it sounds like this is part of the game. So this update, let's see, we've got a new website at soulkeeper.com. We are now accepting beta testing applications. Join our Discord channel, devlogs, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I don't know when is this update coming out? That is the question. But yeah, so I guess it's coming in 2019. Okay, Early Access 2 is not released yet, coming in 2019. I'm guessing this Early Access 2 is going to be kind of like a new game, but if you have this, you get it as well. Not sure exactly how they're going to handle this. But I mean, this game looked like a graphical powerhouse. And for a few seconds here and there, it would work relatively well and you'd be like just marveling at the visuals, but it was a disaster for me. I really couldn't play this game, and I haven't tried it since the 1080 Ti. I have not tried this since the 1080 Ti, but I pretty much think I need my new motherboard and all that other stuff as well. I mean, I need my new computer build probably before I want to go into this, and that is coming very soon. Super excited about that. Okay, so anyway, that is Soulkeeper VR Early Access 2.0. That could be interesting if they have improved that by leaps and bounds. Okay, so one thing I haven't gotten into is the mailbag. Why don't we go ahead and bounce over to the mailbag and see what happened yesterday? Didn't get around to doing timestamps yesterday. My apologies. I was out of town part of the day and just was gone most of the day, so just didn't get around to it. But amazingly, 29 comments, which is pretty cool. I have not checked these comments out whatsoever. I know nothing about them. I haven't seen these, so who knows what people are going to say here. So anyway, Dark Angel says, Jet Island is an awesome game, and it's all about the drone and boss fights. My all-time favorite VR game. Wow. So he is up there with Main Fan in terms of really, really loving Jet Island. And you know, maybe before we do this whole Game of the Year thing, I really need to set aside about 3 hours, play some Jet Island, try to go after some bosses, try to do some actual things in Jet Island instead of just cruising around, because maybe I need to take the you know, maybe I need to take the game a bit more seriously. Jay Pace says, I think Vox Machina is a 10 out of 10 game and one of the top titles of the year. You have to love mechs, giant robot style combat. And congratulations on getting a pretty kick-ass PC rig cobbled together. You deserve it, buddy. Yeah, dude, I cannot wait when this PC is done with 2018 memory inside it, a 2018 motherboard inside it, a 2018 CPU inside it, a 1080 Ti that's used but still pretty freaking solid inside it, and all of that combined, I feel like it's going to be an exciting time to start using that PC when it's built. I'm very much looking forward to that. Very excited about that. Now, as far as Vox Machina being a 10 out of 10 game, my question for Jay is, what about this feeling that some people get where you feel like you don't have control whether you're winning or losing, and it just turns into a chaos thing of just shooting your missiles and shooting your weapons and watching your energy and your shields and all of that? Like, do you feel like you have control over your fate in Vox Machina to some degree? I mean, that's one of the complaints that some people had. They kind of felt like a honeymoon period expired on it and they're not into it anymore. I don't know. Controller Brain says, hearing you guys say Windlands 2 is better than Jet Island makes me want to vomit. Well, they're completely different games. I like both of them. I love Windlands 2. Oh my goodness. I love Windlands 2 because I love the freedom. I just love the feeling that it gives me. If we had true tactile feedback and really felt like we were in places and felt like when we were jumping and landing on a huge platform, it was like bam, and we really felt we were landing on a huge platform. And if the wind was like gusting at me at all the right moments when I'm shooting out my things and I'm flying through the Windlands world, that is such an incredible game. Windlands 2, I love Windlands 2, but I do need to play more Jet Island to be sure. Let's see. So I'm just going to scroll down here. Scion says playing Echo Arena is great exercise, especially when you are playing in high-level games. That goes back to the exercise thing. Hybrid Energy says transference. Winner for me this month. Contractors on Friday. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I Am Rut says, you just said playing Spark isn't exercise because you're only using one arm. But at the beginning of the show, you said you consider getting up off the couch and walking 2 feet to make a sandwich exercise. No, it is exercise. But when I thought about Spark, and I'm like, yeah, this is exercise, but I'm really only using one arm, which is kind of true. So whatever your dominant arm is, and you play Spark all the time, you know, you're going to have this one really big arm and one skinny arm. Just kidding, though. Dicky Boy 23 says, you can still turn on PSVR 2 with it flat. You just lift it up very slightly, turn it on, and pull your finger away. It is lying flat like half a second after you turn it on. Does help with the gyros. See, the thing is, I always thought this gyro thing, see, that's what I heard. People talked about this on the PSVR subreddit. If you have the first version of PlayStation VR, they say that you want to lay it on like a flat table or the ground or just have it flat. Turn it on, wait about 10 seconds, then pick it up. And it was kind of like a wives' tale. I don't know if that was true. I don't know if it was an urban legend, but that's what people talk about. Now, PSVR 2, it seems kind of impossible to do that, and I believe it doesn't need that, because otherwise, why would they make it impossible for it to do that? So I'm not even going to worry about that with PSVR 2. Okay, so half of these 29 comments are I Am Ruts. Dude is like balling out of control here with the comments. Pinnacle Rising says, cardio exercise for a man over 40 is not good. It causes low testosterone. A man over 40 needs to do resistance training, preferably with free weights. Okay, that's an interesting comment there from Pinnacle. Alrighty. I Am Rhett says, Windlands 2, hands down, in his opinion. And Elite Dangerous is $7.20 on Steam, all-time low. It may not be your bag, but at that price, it's a steal. And that's pretty much it. Oh, Ragdoll Coon says, I watch your show every day, and that was the first time I heard Job. Okay, yeah, people always say that. People always say they never hear the freaking planes flying overhead, the garbage trucks, Amazon trucks, all kinds of things that be rumbling down my street. And when I wear headphones, I hear them. When I wear headphones, like even if, because I'll do the timestamps on my other computer, watching like the YouTube video on YouTube, and I'll hear like a dog barking or an airplane or whatever. But I guess I hear it because I already know that it's there and you guys don't know that it's there, so you're not listening for it kind of thing. Okay, but anyway, that was the mailbag. Okay, so we have a new game that comes out tomorrow. It is definitely a very small game, and it could be absolute and complete garbage. But you know me, I love color. I love VR games that are bursting with color, and this game is bursting with color. So let's go ahead and check it out. Getting back over here, it is Toy Shot VR. Okay, unfortunately, I cannot find any trailer for this game, and there isn't even a trailer on the Steam page, because you know you can grab trailers that are on Steam pages. It's just really, really low resolution, so you really don't want to do it anyway, but I couldn't even do that. This game has no trailer. It is called Toy Shot. The developer is EIN Pictures, publisher as well. Now, the only thing I'm saying here, okay, so this is, it says December 7th, but it did not come out on December 7th. It says available December 14th. It will unlock in approximately 1 day and 7 hours. Now, the thing is, I think, look at the color here. I don't know. I'm a sucker for this type of stuff. Like Dick Wild, I kind of liked it. Shooty Fruity, I kind of liked it. Not for the prices that they were going at originally, but like on a really aggressive Steam sale, I kind of like it because I like a lot of colors. I like vibrancy. And this game does appear to have it, but it also looks kind of like a little kid, you know, little, but look at like those comic books over there. Thor, Hulk. Gee, do they really have the licensing for that? I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt that this should say Thor and Hulk and freaking Life magazine and shit. That's kind of crazy. But you know, I do, it does kind of have this shooty fruity kind of a feel. Toy Shot. It's almost like Shooty Fruity, but in a toy store. I mean, that's basically what this is, right? Shooty Fruity in a toy store. And let's see, going back, let's go back to the beginning here. Toy Shot VR. Was there a price? I don't think we have a price. Yeah, see, that's going to be a big question too, is what about the price? Because price could be an issue here. Hopefully it'll be pretty low, but that is Toy Shot. I don't know. Looks kind of interesting. Maybe not. Okay, what other stories do we have? Well, you know, we have a story about something called OtoTech. And OtoTech, actually, no, I want to go back here. OtoTech is this new technology designed for motion sickness. So if we go ahead and head back over here to Upload VR, let's go ahead and scroll down right here. So the U.S. Air Force training supplier trialing VR locomotion sickness solution. And so this is VR training systems company VR Motion Corp and automotive giant Jaguar/Land Rover are each trialing a new device called OtoTech, which is claimed to solve VR locomotion-induced sickness. Now, first of all, I don't know that Jaguar/Land Rover is an automotive giant, okay? They're a nice automotive company, to be sure. A giant, maybe not. But I don't know. Maybe they are a giant. So OtoTech was developed by Samuel Owen through his new company, Otolith Labs. Strapped in just behind the ear with a headband, the non-invasive gadget generates vibrations against the inner ear nerve responsible for transmitting balance information to the brain. Owen says the device is comfortable and virtually silent, and that these vibrations flood the inner ear with white noise, and it basically causes the brain to ignore that. Now, I don't know. Do you think it's a very good idea, folks? Do you think it's a very good idea to strap a head? See, this is where I go to the Charles Nolan side of the coin here. I don't know that it's a great idea to strap a headset to your head. Look at that thing that is right near that guy's cerebral cortex. Okay, so you strap a headset right to your head, and you have some little device on there that is constantly vibrating or whatever, which is generating this confusion for your brain. So your brain says, okay, you know what? I'm just going to start ignoring the inner ear at this point because you're just giving me bad info, bro. So I'm just going to ignore the inner ear. And we're going to have this device on us. I wonder what the long-term ramifications are. For example, those of you that believe you could play a VR game for 4 hours straight, imagine having this thing rumbling on your head for 4 hours straight. Don't know that that is the greatest idea, but, you know, we'll have to see what happens here. Hopefully it turns out to ultimately be not a big deal. And I mean, you know, ideally, yes, we would come up with a solution. Now, this guy here, this army dude that has a Vive Pro on his head, it's the little thing is way back there at the very back of his neck. I don't think that's going to work. I thought it has to be up here by your ear, right? This is the way you do it. But I don't know. I don't know that I'd want something vibrating on my head all day long. Now, luckily, I do not suffer too badly from motion sickness. Every once in a while, like I'll tell you something that would make me motion sick. One of the things that makes me motion sick, have you guys ever tried Air Car on the Oculus platform? Oh my God, it is awesome. It is straight up Blade Runner City that you're flying around in. It is awesome. But you know what? I accidentally did the smooth turning one time, and it ruined my brain. It absolutely ruined my brain. So that's the only, there's certain times where I will get a bit of motion sickness, but it's pretty freaking rare. I did get a bit of motion sickness when I was playing Serious Sam 3 because I'm running along at like hundreds of miles per hour, and I think that kind of wrecked me after a while as well, but it's pretty rare for me. Now, one of the things they say in this article, VR Motion provides virtual driver training systems to the United States Air Force, among other clients. CEO Keith Maher told us that they have historically seen a 20 to 30% sickness level among trainees. So basically this means that 20 to 30% of your average population out there, they get motion sick, but the other 70 to 80% don't. And that's kind of weird to me. It's so weird that there's this segment of population, and you know, I've talked about it before. I've always kind of felt though that there is this huge percentage of people that when I tell them about VR, do you want to try VR? Their very first instinct is like, I don't want to feel dizzy. I don't know. That thing makes people feel queasy. I don't really want to do that. I think I'll feel, you know, and they've already made a decision. You know, they've already decided in their heads they're going to get sick. And so then when they put a VR headset on, they're like expecting to get sick. And any little weirdness, I think, just immediately triggers that sickness idea in them. And so I'm not saying motion sickness isn't real. It has to be real to a certain degree. But I also feel like a lot of people are expecting to get sick. And I do believe that that has something to do with it to a slight degree. Anyways, though, I don't think I would put that on my head. I am normally not like a conspiracy theorist type of guy. Like, I'm not that worried about 5G. I kind of find it hard to believe that the FTC would allow something to pass that is really super dangerous to humans. So I'm not really worried about 5G. But putting something so close to your head like that, that's vibrating, and it's literally tricking your brain, it's confusing your brain on purpose, like, that's fine if there's no after effects of that. But what happens when you prolong you're confusing the brain, and you're doing it for a prolonged period of time? Would it eventually just say, you know what, I'm just not going to listen to the inner ear ever again? I mean, who knows what kind of crazy side effect can come out of that? Yeah, buddy, I don't know about that. Okay, let's go to our next story. Is OtoTech a cure for motion sickness? Maybe so, but I'm not strapping that to the side of my dome. All right, the next story that I got is related to Fallout 4. And we got to head over here to the Vive subreddit here. And I saw this topic up here, and I thought this was kind of interesting. Fallout 4 VR DLC. Is it ever coming out? And this is an interesting topic to me because you know what? A lot of people actually, why don't I switch over to our standard scene here? It's been a while. We've mostly been using that browser. And let me see if I can find some kind of Fallout related video maybe. We can throw that on the screen so we can get into this discussion here. I don't know that you know, it's crazy. Fallout 4 VR is like the biggest VR game ever. And I don't have like just a regular trailer for it. I'm going to put a Fallout 76 trailer on. My bad, folks. But anyway, in discussing Fallout and VR, it's funny because there's a lot of people, they just naturally believe, well, where's the DLC? Like Fallout 4 VR, like of course there's going to be DLC. Like why can't I get all the DLC in VR? And a lot of people like me, we also wonder, where's Fallout 3 VR? Oh my God, bro. Do you know how much I would absolutely love to go through the entirety of Fallout 3 again, but this time in VR. Man, I would love to go through Fallout 3 VR. Why can't they just somehow adapt Fallout 3, do whatever they did for Fallout 4 VR to get it to work, and somehow put Fallout 3 into that engine and just get it running in the same way? I would eat that stuff up. Fallout 3 VR. Oh my God. That was one of my all-time favorite games ever. I spent so many hours in that wasteland, so many hours in the world of Fallout 3. It would be so freaking cool. I would love it. But yeah, you know, some people are wondering, where is the Fallout 4 DLC? Is it ever coming out? And there were never any promises. Never any promises of any of that. Never any promises of Fallout 3. Never any promises of Fallout New Vegas. See, some people want Fallout New Vegas VR more than anything else. For me, it's Fallout 3 because I have those memories. I remember that music. I remember walking through that entire wasteland, and this was on a two-dimensional screen, and it was still one of my favorite games ever. And to be in that world in VR, because Fallout 4, Fallout 3 is one of my all-time favorite games. Fallout 4 was a disappointment for me. It was a disappointment. It's still a good game. It's still a great game, but it was a disappointment. It was basically just kind of more of the same of what they didn't do much with Fallout 4 in my opinion. And so I like Fallout 4, but Fallout 3 really was the game. And then New Vegas, oh my God, I would love to play through. Like I barely scratched, I barely scratched the beep in Fallout New Vegas, barely touched it. And so that would be like exploring a brand new game in VR, which is what I'm going to do tomorrow with Borderlands 2. Yes, I have never played Borderlands 2. How awesome is it? And I'm a single player guy. I don't need multiplayer. I love to be in a single player thing. So I will have no problems with Borderlands 2 tomorrow, other than maybe struggling with the controls. At least that is what Upload VR is talking about. Okay, so yeah, that was the quick little story I had regarding Fallout 4 VR and DLC. Let's go ahead and see if anybody's talking up in chat about Fallout 4. So Stuart Gregerson says, I can never get Fallout working without it stuttering. It's the only game that does this, literally the only one. It's unplayable. I got it for free and deleted it to free up space. Damn, that sucks. You know what? Gary had this all these different settings that you would do to get Fallout 4 VR running as good as it can possibly get running. And I followed all of his settings and did everything like that. And it runs pretty, like even on my 970, it runs pretty well. I have not played it yet since getting the 1080 Ti. I haven't even fired it up because I think I deleted it at one point because I was running out of, did I delete it? No, it's just on that other hard drive. I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, I haven't been into Fallout 4 VR in the longest time. Orlor says, I just refunded Skyrim VR because I couldn't stand the controls. Have no hope for Fallout 4 or 3 or Bethesda in general. Wow. You, Orlor, you're on an island there, bud. You're on an island because you know what? Skyrim VR has a million freaking mods. Like my buddy Arrowin X could probably give you about 25 different mods that would change your controls in every which way and make you fall in love with it again. Maybe, I don't know. Hybrid Energy says, man, I hated Fallout 3. So weird. I found everything looked the same and the subway sections were just copy and pasted, reused assets. Yeah, I loved Fallout 3. I fell madly in love with Fallout 3 because I had never up until that point experienced a game like that. And spoilers for a game that released in like 2008, but at one point in Fallout 3, you have to find this kid, okay? You have to find this kid and you have to infiltrate a freaking tribe of vampires and you have to gain their trust and everything. And like doing that, like I felt like I was in a movie. When I was playing Fallout 3, I felt like I was in a movie and that was on a 2-dimensional screen. That's why I consider Fallout 3 one of my favorite games of all time ever, because I got that movie feeling. And you can get that, I mean, yeah, with Fallout 4 VR, you absolutely get that feeling. With Skyrim, you get that feeling and it is amazing. But see, Fallout 3 was my favorite, so I want to kind of see that in VR. And I bet you, oh my God, it would run great too, because unless they like did a completely redone version of it and upped all the textures and everything, which that's what made me build a computer in the first place. Dudes, check this out. Let me break something down to you real quick. I had an Xbox 360 and a PlayStation 3, and I was perfectly happy with my Xbox 360 and my PlayStation 3. This was back in like 2010 or so, right? But I was on these forums and people kept rubbing it in my face, all these high-res texture packs and texture mods for Fallout 3. They would show the street, the freeways or just the regular roads of Fallout 3 with no texture mods, and then they'd show it with the texture mods, and it was like, oh my God, it was like, that looks like a game, that looks like real life. And I was perfectly content, perfectly happy with my PlayStation 3 and my Xbox 360, but I kept seeing all of this stuff, and I was like, dude, I've got to see Fallout 3 with these incredible high-res texture packs, and I want to play all my games at 60 frames per second. And so, I joined the PC Master Race, and it was specifically for Fallout 3. It was specifically for that game, just to see it with the high-res texture packs, and I ended up building a brand new PC. This was 2011, and I'm still using that PC to this very day with one exception. There's a 1080 Ti in it. And that's pretty much it. But everything else is from 2011. But that is going to change very soon. Super hyped on that. Alrighty, so let's see. We spent a little bit too much time on that Fallout 4 talk. But another thing that we have to talk about is Gamespot. And this is a real, what's going on here, folks? Do these people even know what the hell they're talking about? That's my question here. The 5 best VR games of 2018 by GameSpot. These are the 5 best VR games. Tetris Effect, Astrobot, Beat Saber, Moss, Wipeout VR. Okay, one of these is not like the others. Astrobot, top 5. No freaking question about it. Beat Saber, not in my top 5, I don't think, but damn good game. Definitely one of the best games of 2018. No question about it. Moss, one of the best games of 2018. No question about it. And Wipeout VR in my top 5, baby. Guaranteed. But Tetris Effect? Tetris Effect does not belong with these games. This is embarrassing. Why is this going on? This is, you want it, so that's groupthink. This is what we call groupthink, ladies and gentlemen. A number of different journalists get it in their, you know, their little pretentious minds that Tetris Effect, oh my God, Tetris Effect is sublime. The gameplay is just sublime. It is a masterwork. Mizuguchi, oh my God, he is a god, Mizuguchi. You know, that's what it is with Tetris Effect. It's a groupthink. This should not be related with these other games. I'm very disappointed in this. And see, the thing is, there's people out there, they're not hip to the game. And they're really going to think Tetris Effect is one of the 5 best games because all these other people are saying it's one of the 5 best games. You know, just bad ideas, bad ideas. So I did want to bring that up really quick. Okay. Another tiny little news story we can go over to the Oculi subreddit over here and see OtoTech. See, a lot of people are talking about this new device for seemingly solving VR locomotion systems or sickness, but do you want to put a vibrating device right under your freaking temple? I don't know. I think I'll pass on that. But one of the other things that, okay, this is that thread I was talking about, you know, Blade and Sorcery. So, just got Blade and Sorcery, man. This is too fun, bro. Oh my God, man. Blade and Sorcery. This is awesome, bro. Blade and Sorcery is so cool. It is so freaking cool. And just a lot of the posts in this thread, I really thought a lot of these people were straight guerrilla marketing. But I clicked on some of them, and some of these people have been on Reddit for like 2, 3, 4 years or something. So some of these people are literally, like, they're legit. Like, I don't get what's going on here, man. But some of these accounts are not very new. But Blade and Sorcery, it's just getting a lot of hype. And it's kind of crazy. It's crazy to me because you have other games like Transpose and 10 Hearts. And think of all the games that have come out, like even like Zing, The Land Beyond. Think of all the great VR games that would pray to get 10% the amount of hype that something like Blade and Sorcery is getting. It's really enjoying a lot of hype. I just don't know that it is there, folks. Okay, so this is the other news story I wanted to get to. Thumper is 50% off. It is $9.99 at the Oculus store. That is a beautiful thing. Thumper right there, $9.99. Thumper's a decent game. Now you will get your people out there that will say Thumper is barely even a VR game. You know, you're seated, you're using a regular controller, you're basically viewing it externally, like it's not really a VR game. But you know what Thumper is though, man? Thumper is an audio visual experience. Now, MameFan with those butt kickers, you know how MameFan has some butt kickers for his like racing seats, and basically butt kickers are, they're these speakers that are designed to like really kick the bass but also vibrate you as well. This is what you want to play with them butt kickers, baby. Thumper, some good headphones. You will really get into this game in an audio visual. It is powerful. It has impact. And you're like, shoom, 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 you know, like slamming these walls and stuff. And the bosses are super trippy. Pretty darn cool. I think Thumper's pretty good. I just wish I could buy it for $10 and have it for my Rift and my Go, because it's on the Go as well. And Oculus needs to figure something like that out. Now, MameFan says Thumper bored me, but here's the question. Did you? Yeah, you didn't use those bass shakers though, man. Yeah, you got to use those butt kickers, then play Thumper. I bet you're going to have a different opinion of it at that point. But yeah, Thumper is out there. It is on sale. Okay, so those are basically the topics that I had. Now, what we can do real quick, is we can bounce over to Road to VR. Let's go ahead and refresh this and see if there might be any news stories over here. Okay, so, you know, 7 out of 10 on Upload VR. A 3 out of 5. A 3 out of 5 on Road to VR. Ladies and gentlemen, could we be looking at an overrated VR game in Borderlands 2 VR? Could this be a slight dud? Or is it just simply a case of it's not quite as good as we thought it was, but it's still pretty decent? I don't know, man. Okay, Borderlands 2 VR is a PSVR exclusive port of the popular 2012 title. That's kind of crazy that Borderlands 2 is from 2012. The franchise has always been shoot stuff, loot stuff. Now, the big question is whether or not VR adds to the experience. Borderlands 2 VR knows what it is. It's a shooting and looting game. While that might make it sound bland on paper, the game actually manages to make it feel quite alluring, thanks in large part to an interesting variety of guns and at least a little bit of loot to be found around every corner. Yeah, so, I mean, talking about what's even more awkward when using Move is the way locomotion is handled. There's both free walk and teleportation options. When using the free walk mode, holding down the Move's big button causes you to move in the direction your controller is pointing. I ain't got a problem with that. Okay, this works well enough in other made-for-VR games, but in Borderlands 2 VR, where the gameplay, where the gameplay was originally designed for lots of stick-based strafing and continuous movement, you wind up holding your locomotion hand mostly up in the air as you point it awkwardly around to simulate stick movement to ensure you can effectively dodge incoming fire. Blah, 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 blah. I wish I could talk. While it seems that teleportation option might be a better bet, teleportation is hampered by a finicky implementation which doesn't handle height well, making it difficult to teleport over small obstacles, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, you know, bottom line, man, it sounds like Borderlands 2 has some major control issues. And I think ultimately what is going to happen, and then there's also, you know, I've also read as well that like none of the menus, like none of the settings, like this game was not designed with VR in mind, and you're going to see that a lot in the game as well. I think that's the other negative with it, like menus and stuff like that. Oh, snap. Look at this. All of the above is underscored by the game's pretty awful graphics, even on PS4 Pro. Oh, that's pretty harsh. You might think that the signature cel-shaded style would translate very well to VR, but in this instance, it clearly hasn't. Texture quality drops off rapidly as it gets further from the player, turning the world into a muddy mess that's framed by aliasing and plenty of flicker. Oh my goodness, we're talking about Drive Club City, baby. So this may be Vaseline smeared. Ah, man, I thought for sure the cel shading was going to make this game look awesome, especially on a PS4 Pro. But according to Road to VR, this game is not really doing it very well. That is, oh, snap! 5.9. Oh my goodness, 5.9. That is harsh. That is harsh, ladies and gentlemen. The gameplay is 6.5. Immersion is 5. Comfort is 4. Comfort is even worse. Holy smokes, Borderlands 2 VR technically works in VR, but hasn't managed to escape the feeling of being an outright port. There's not much to the game which really feels like it's making good use of VR, and more than a handful of players are likely to find the game uncomfortable without cranking up the comfort settings. By the time you add up all the cons of playing the game in VR, no co-op, no DLC, no VR-specific interactions, poor graphics, gamepad first design, and necessary immersion reducing comfort settings, you might start to wonder why you aren't just playing the original Borderlands 2 in PSVR's game theater mode. Oh my goodness, if not just your damn TV without the bother of a VR headset. Holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen. Holy smokes. So this is, who wrote this article? Because they just ripped Borderlands 2 VR a new one. They just ripped them a new one. Do we have a name on this article? Damn. Oh, Ben Lang. Oh my goodness, my boy Ben Lang. He ripped Borderlands a new one. Wowzers. Do you guys see what just happened right there? Ben Lang ripped Borderlands a new one. Holy smokes. Let's go ahead and put this on the screen. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's our boy Ben. You know, I trust Ben Lang for the most part. So I got to imagine, here's my, like, I'm going to go ahead and review Borderlands 2 VR right now, even though I don't have Borderlands 2 VR. I'm going to say that the graphics don't look that great. So I'm going to trust this guy. The graphics don't look that great. And it's a single player deal. The menus are going to be kind of jank because they're not made for VR. The menus are going to be jacked. I don't know. I feel like, but at the same time, I feel like it's a 30-hour game and it's a nice world to play in VR. I mean, he's kind of saying, look, you might as well play this in theater mode. Like, that is damning criticism, guys. That is damning criticism. And I don't believe Ben Lang. I personally do not believe that Ben Lang is like trying to like become some type of contrarian with this review and try to like hype it up that way, like, oh, we're the only ones that are going to talk smack about Borderlands 2 VR. This is danger, ladies and gentlemen. Now, $50, you know, $50. So I'm curious, some of you guys out there, there's a lot of people that are in this chat that have maybe acquired a PlayStation VR headset in the last 8 or 9 months, maybe to play Wipeout VR, maybe to play Astrobot, maybe to play Firewall 0 Hour, maybe to play all kinds of different games that are on PSVR. My question is, what are you guys thinking now? Because I bet a lot of you may have thought, you know, this is probably the biggest VR game remaining in the year 2018. This is Borderlands 2. This is a big game. Are you going to buy this big game? You know, does that review, that 5.9, does that change your mind? You know where we got to go, folks? We got to go to the PSVR subreddit, because I got to imagine they're talking about this. This is a 5.9 score. Ben Lang really slapped that one. Okay, Kev Gretz says he's talking to I Am Ruts. He's saying he's the only negative review so far. This guy's out on an island. Okay, Chris says, I feel Borderlands 2 will be leaps and bounds better on PC VR. Well, it will, but we're talking possibly June 2019. June 2019 is a long time away from now. June 2019, I'll be breaking out my tank top. Okay, Kev Gretz says, so Anthony read a 7/10 review, but this review gets more attention? Hell yeah, because it's 5.9 out of 10. They really slapped it to it. Look, I don't know. I will judge Borderlands 2 myself. I will judge it. Now I'm kind of thinking the graphics are going to be kind of craptacular, you know. So I'm expecting a major downgrade in the graphics. Jay Benson is checking in. VR Focus gave it a 5 out of 5. Well, you know what I got to say about VR Focus? No, I'm not, like, in response to VR Focus, I don't know anything about, like, their actual content. I just don't like that website. Like, every time I've gone to VR Focus, there's, like, a million things that are popping up that just annoy the hell out of me, and I just don't like the way it looks. I don't know what it is about it. It's nothing personal about VR Focus. So anybody that works at VR Focus, I'm not talking smack about you or the owners of VR Focus or anybody like that. Something about that website just doesn't, I just don't kind of like that website. I don't know. You know, my bad. So where were we going here? Okay, Kev Gretz says, look, I've watched a 3-hour stream of Borderlands 2 VR today, and it looked perfectly fine to me. So yeah, I mean, you never know. Maybe I will get into this game tomorrow morning before the show. Now I really want to play this game, so I'm going to try to wake up a little bit earlier, get out here, get into some Borderlands 2, maybe put a solid hour into this baby before we do our show tomorrow. So it might be Borderlands 2 discussion heavy, at least in the beginning of the show. But I want to see, are the graphics really as crappy as Ben Lang's? Like, Ben Lang is almost saying you don't, you don't need to play that. Like, you could play Borderlands 2 in theater mode. Like, that is really damning criticism. That is really damning criticism. Ben Lang understands VR. He might not be a hardcore VR gamer, but he certainly understands VR. So that scares me a bit, but I'm going to judge it on my own merits. You know, Upload VR gave it a 7 out of 10 as well. Not a very good score. I don't know. I know PlayStation VR is capable of some incredible stuff, because look at Red Matter. And you know what's wonderful about Red Matter, guys? Why don't we actually bounce over to the PSVR subreddit real quick, because let's see what people are talking about over there. See if there is a little bit of controversy surrounding these reviews. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. Okay, let's see if we got some VR focused Borderlands 2 review, 5 out of 5 stars. No shocker that they're upvoting that. I mean, everybody wants to believe, like, you want to root for Borderlands. You want to root for all of these games. You don't want them to be a dud. Nobody wants anything to be a dud. Borderlands 2 VR review from Upload VR. So there's no like Road to VR says 5.9, man. There's no one of those reviews. Starchild not making it out this year? Yeah, that's not going to happen, because if it was making it out, we would have heard about it. They're not going to freaking stealth launch that game. They're going to let you know. They're going to have a date. You're going to know about it. Yeah, so anyway, one of the things I was going to say, though, I'm not seeing any threads about it here, but a lot of people have been ranting and raving on the PSVR subreddit about Red Matter. Like, the Red Matter port to PSVR is absolutely fantastic. And I love to see, like, people need to understand Red Matter may be the PSVR game of the year. Like, I would have, well, no, Wipeout. Astrobot, okay, maybe the third best, maybe the third best PSVR game. Seriously, like, Wipeout and Astrobot are obviously, 1-2 in some kind of direction, but Red Matter, the PSVR port of Red Matter, absolutely incredible in my opinion. It does have a bit of blurriness and stuff, but I mean, that's understandable. 87% of the game comes through. So I know PSVR is capable of some amazing things, so I'm still hoping this is halfway decent. I mean, it looks okay in these trailers. I guess it just probably has a very Vaseline-y type of a look when you get your headset on. But you know me, baby. I got my brand new version 2 PSVR headset, and this is going to be like the first game I'm really going to get involved with my version 2 PSVR headset. So I'm looking forward to that. I will be trying that tomorrow morning. I will definitely have thoughts before our show. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get an outro trailer on the screen here and get the heck out of Dodge. I am starting to be starving. Absolutely starving to be starving. In fact, my stomach has probably already gurgled a bit. So anyway, folks, I am Rhett says, Anthony must have a relative that is a developer for Red Matter. You would think so. You would think so, as much as I rant and rave about my boy's Vertical Robot. No, dude, Vertical Robot, like, and Beat Games, like, there's a few developers out there where, and I always talk about it the same way. They stepped up to the plate. They pointed to the left field bleachers like Babe Ruth, all right? And then the pitch came down the plate, and they just yanked that puppy right out of the stadium. Just absolutely killed it. I believe Vertical Robot absolutely killed it with Red Matter. I believe Soulfar Studios absolutely killed it with In Death. I believe Epos Game Studios for Wipeout VR absolutely killed it. Freaking Japan Studio for PlayStation with Astrobot. Oh my God, that's a grand slam. They called a grand slam. It was bases loaded, and they pointed and they freaking yanked it. So, just a great job by a great developer. I do not work for these companies. Nope. But if you want to hire me, go ahead, shoot me an email, info@vrgamerankings.com, info@vrgamerankings.com. Alrighty, so that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode. I'm excited. I'm hyped, man. Tomorrow is Borderlands 2 VR day. I will have my thoughts on our episode tomorrow. Looking forward to it. See everybody then, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Take it easy. Later.